This video is all about whether it's really possible for you to transform your life and maybe triple or better your income just by doing something like rollerblading. Sounds kind of crazy, huh? But I'm going to lay it out for you. My name is Brent Phillips. I'm the founder and creator of the Awakening Dynamic System of Energy Healing and Higher Consciousness. And this is video number 1 in the series on Movement Feedback Holography. And even if you've been around the self-improvement world for a while, I can pretty much guarantee you've never seen anything like this. It's really crazy. And it's totally different than probably anything you've seen before. There's no visualizations or no sets of steps and no bowing or praying or any of that. It's done with intuitive symbolic feedback based on physical movements, along with a meditative piece. And it's really phenomenal. I'm not going to bore you with my whole life story here, but just a few highlights you need to know. That I used to be a software engineer. I was at MIT in grad school when the World Wide Web Consortium was formed, and I got to be part of it. I literally wrote some of the code that is the underpinnings of the modern internet. I left schools, had some startups, got betrayed by my best friend, lost millions of dollars, terrible heartbreak, ended up spending 5 years on full-time disability until I met a healer and experienced a miracle and got my life back. And things were great for a little while, but then it all went to hell again. I went right back down the rabbit hole because my wife left me. I went through a painful divorce. My father died. I suffered one of the worst heartbreaks in my life, falling in love with this woman that I was just so crazy about who had no interest in me. And my lifelong best friend and business partner betrayed me, stole 2 multi-million companies I had founded, not only with my technology, but my blood, sweat, and tears. My sacrifice. It was my 100-hour work weeks at the office that built these companies, not his. And so by the time I was 27, I was living with my parents, put on lifetime disability, told there was no chance of recovering, and essentially I thought my life was over. Fast forward 5 years, I met a healer, had a session of energy healing, and experienced a miracle that changed the direction of my life. I became a healer myself, and things looked up for a while. I started to get out of pain. I came off disability. But then it all went to hell again. Long story short, my wife left me. My father died. I fell crazy in love with another woman who had no interest in me. She strung me along, used me, absolutely crushed me, left me with not just a broken heart, but what I used to say, a big gaping hole in my chest where my heart used to be. And best of all, I had trusted the wrong person with my money, and I had found that he had stolen everything from me and also taken out nearly $1 million in fraudulent loans in my name. So I was forced into bankruptcy. And I really thought my life was over. I didn't see any reason to keep going. I saw no chance I could ever recover from this. After all, I had every expectation I'd be a millionaire and retired by 30, not bankrupt at 40. But that's what happened. And the very next day, I met my late mentor, Carl Wolf. You see, I had been working with a dating coach who, after 100 hours of work with me, gave up on me. He's like, Brent, you're too screwed up even for me. I can't help you. Let's kick you up the food chain to the master. And so he helped me book a session with the late Dr. Carl Wolf. And long story short, it was the day after I declared bankruptcy that I had my healing session with Carl. And it certainly wasn't like any kind of energy healing or law of attraction or positive thinking I had ever done before. I had done all sorts of meditation and Reiki healing and pranic healing and Psych K and emotion code and healing code and all this kind of stuff for years and years. Remember, I was a full-time professional energy healing practitioner before I even met Carl for years. So it's not like I was new to this new age stuff. But what Carl did didn't make any sense to me. First, he had me rent some rollerblades. Then he had me skate in a circle in the parking lot while he videotaped me. And then we sat in his car and we watched the video, and basically he ripped me a new one. It was all this criticism about how screwed up my energy was and how my movement showed this myth and this block and that trauma. And then he sent me home. And I was pissed, let me tell you. I called up my dating coach and chewed him out. I'm like, dude, what the F? I just went bankrupt. I don't have any money. Why'd you have me spend $500 to rollerblade for some old coot holding a video camera down by Venice Beach? And so my dating coach listened for a minute and he cut me off and said, Brent, hold your feedback for now. Just give it a few weeks. And if you don't see any benefits or changes from that session you did, rollerblading in a circle, for the crazy old coot, as you called him, give me a call back and I'm happy to let you scream at me for as long as you like. And I was like, sure, dude, whatever, right? I'll call you back in a few weeks and rip you a new one of your own. And so I kind of forgot about it. Long story short, within 48 hours, I started making money like I never had before. It was crazy. I had a presentation later that week. I had 120 people crammed into a room designed for 30, shoulder to shoulder. I sold out my next seminar. I booked my calendar solid for 3 weeks. I had never seen anything like this, and it didn't make any sense. But that's exactly why I'm here with this series. And it took me a long time to figure out how this went, because I first met Carl back in 2008. And as you're watching this video, it's at least 2023, maybe later in the future, I don't know. But I'm releasing this in 2023. It's been 15 years, and I'm just starting to really understand it. And so here's what happened. He introduced me to the process of movement feedback holography. And that's what this whole series is about. And I think you'll find it to be a process of energy healing and personal transformation that's far more powerful, that can do way more than anything you've ever seen. And trust me, I've been to a lot of different energy healing modalities. I'm a certified master in at least 2, and I got practitioner certifications in probably 26 others. But there is nothing like movement. It's on a whole nother level from anything else you've done, because it is visceral, it is physical, and it's something you really feel and do. It doesn't use much words or language. It's not in your head. It's not about imagining. It's about having a real experience of doing movement and getting feedback from a trained facilitator. This causes a sort of deep cleaning to occur in the subconscious, releasing old limiting beliefs and stories and myths that have been running our lives. And that sets you free to become the real you. Because movement at its core isn't really about making money. Of course we have to talk about that, because that's probably the only thing that got you to watch this video. Now, I'm not lying about that. You really will make a lot more money if you're serious about this. When I did this work, I was able to more than triple my income in about 18 months. And it just kept going up from there. Now, I'm not saying you're never going to have a setback or an obstacle or a loss or ever worry about money. No, that's a lie. No one can ever say that. But this is such a powerful tool that I think you'll find that your money stress and worries go down significantly, partly because you're making more money and partly because you've increased your spiritual vibration. The fear, the lack, the scarcity won't be holding you back as much. And the way I see this work, it's really a spiritual modality that's about helping you to become a little bit better version of you, to get a little bit closer to your authentic self, who you're really meant to be, not this artificial life that so many of us have gotten squeezed into to please our parents or to pay the bills or to just get through the day without going nuts. It's truly transformative in a way that nothing else I've done has been able to do. Because most of the energy healing stuff I've done can be pretty useful, especially for physical and emotional health. But honestly, there's not much energy healing law of attraction that actually works for making money, for increasing presence, for building confidence. There's plenty of places that say they do, lots of sales pages making wild claims out there. And I bought a lot of those systems, and most of them are garbage. There's a few gems, a few good insights, but most of them are crap. They won't do anything for your prosperity. They will not help make you money, but this will. Why? Again, we're connecting you a little more strongly to the real version of who you are. Movement helps to unleash your authentic self by clearing away all these layers of cobwebs and stories and trauma and meaning and all this head nonsense. And just in case you're thinking, okay, Brent, I'm kind of open to this stuff. It sounds great, but you know what? I don't think it's going to work for me. I'm going to answer that, but in just a moment, because first I want to take a second to say, hey, if you like this video, if you want to see more of them, if you want me to keep making this channel for a long time into the future, it's really simple. Hit like, hit subscribe, and then tell your friends. Awesome, awesome. That was pretty easy now, wasn't it? Cool. Now, because I pride myself on always delivering exactly what I promise or more, I'm going to let you know what to do if you're thinking, hey, Brent, this sounds interesting. I'd like to learn more, but I'm not sure this can work for me. I want you to know there's nothing special about me. This works for everybody. In fact, you don't need to have any special talent. You don't need to believe in God. You don't need to be really grounded. You don't need to be young or old or rich or poor or yellow or green or blue or purple or anything. This is about as close to 100% as you're going to find in the personal development world. Because here's the thing. I really was a full-time energy healing practitioner for 5 years before I met Carl and started doing movement. And it brought me a lot of benefits. But there were certain things it couldn't do. And in particular around confidence and money and career success, movement was the breakthrough. And in case you're thinking, hey, Brent, of course it worked for you. You have an MIT degree. You were really smart. You knew about computers. Let me tell you, it was not about any of that. All those things were disadvantages, if anything. And in case you think you're missing something or not good enough or in too much crisis or whatever to benefit from this, when I first started doing movement back in 2008, I had just declared bankruptcy the day before. I was grieving the loss of my father who had passed away earlier in the year. I was dealing with the trauma of my divorce. I was dealing with still the difficulty of being betrayed by my best friend, chronic pain, all these things. I even had cancer. I was suffering from severe migraine headaches. I was diagnosed with chemical poisoning. I had chronic Lyme disease. I was a complete mess, people. A complete mess. One of the biggest negative thinkers in the world. And it still helped me move forward. Now, admittedly, I didn't do as well with this work as many others did. What my late mentor Carl used to ask people on their first session was, hey, are you ready to add a zero to your income? And the truth is, a lot of my friends and colleagues who worked with him and did this movement did better than me. Their income went up by 5 times or 10 times or even more. The reason I struggled a bit was I was stuck in my mind. Too much thinking, not enough feeling. Good news is the movement is the one thing that can bring you out of that. So don't worry about it. If you think you're not good enough or not smart enough, you are. Give it a shot. There's really no 100% in this world, but this is pretty close. I can honestly say I have never had a serious student or client who did the movement with me over the long term in my highest level programs that did not see some kind of huge benefit or breakthrough. And just so you know, again, it's not really about money. Money's just an easy way to keep score, to measure what's happening. This is about being a better you. It's about learning to let go of all the myths and stories and other people's agendas that you've internalized that you think is you. After all, is it any surprise that if you put down the burden of all this baggage and nonsense you're carrying from your past lives and your parents and your ancestors and your childhood and all that, of course it'll free you up to be more powerful. Imagine you're going to go run a marathon, but you strap on a backpack carrying 100 pounds like something a special forces soldier would wear. Guess what? You're probably going to lose. Of course you will. Nobody can win a marathon carrying around an extra 100 pounds. That's impossible. Same way, it's impossible for you to make the big breakthrough, to find the life you love, to make serious money. It's impossible to do that when you're carrying around the weight of this baggage of the past. And movement is there to set you free. And I would love to be your guide. Now, if you'd like to learn a little more and maybe join me online for a live movement event so you can actually see this and experience it for yourself, check the links in the description. I would love to meet you at one of my online events so you can see for yourself how real and how powerful and transformative this work really is. All right, that's all I got to say for right now. So this is Brent Michael Phillips signing off. Thank you for being with me on this journey in video number 1 of our series on movement feedback holography. And until next time, please take care and namaste.